Welcome to FYI, the For-Your Innovation podcast. This show offers an intellectual discussion on technologically enabled disruption, because investing in innovation starts with understanding it. To learn more, visit arc-invest.com.
ARK Invest is a registered investment advisor focused on investing in disruptive innovation. This podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon as a basis for investment decisions. It does not constitute, either explicitly or implicitly, any provision of services or products by ARK. All statements made regarding companies or securities are strictly beliefs and points of view held by ARK or podcast guests and are not endorsements or recommendations by ARK to buy, sell, or hold any security. Clients of ARK Investment Management may maintain positions in the securities discussed in this podcast.
Hello, and welcome to FYI, the For Your Innovation podcast. I'm Brett Winton, ARK Invest's chief futurist and the host of FYI. We have a great show for you today. We have a special guest visiting us from Korea. SY is the CEO of Toss Securities. And of course, we have our CEO, CIO, and fearless leader, Kathy Wood, here as well to talk with SY about Toss Securities and really the retail investing landscape in Korea and across the world. SY, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. I'm very honored to be here. Actually, this is my second time visiting our offices, and it's really exciting.
Yeah, and we're honored to have you, SY. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so you have a history of you were at Google, you were at TikTok, you were in tech, and now you are in what I think of as the Robinhood of Korea. Tell us, how did that journey happen and why did it happen? Why should you go from tech into kind of online brokerage?
It's a very personal journey. I grew up in New York City. I went to school in New York City. And obviously, I always wanted to get a job in finance. Well, I couldn't get a job in finance back then. And I ended up joining a tech company called Google. It was before YouTube and Android days. It was very early Google days. And then I came to Asia. I started, operational role and analyst role in Korea. And that's how, journey started. And then ironically, search business was not booming like US back then in Asia. They were struggling in Korea. So they acquired the two other small tech startups called YouTube and Android. And they asked us to, work on this in Korea since search was not, working well. So Android was obviously partnered with Samsung, and then we had to grow YouTube. So I was part of YouTube doing marketing, sales, and operations, and then that had an inflection point with the Gangnam Style. So that is something, and YouTube is one of the biggest markets for YouTube, global Korea. So, and then a couple of jobs later, I've joined this Chinese company, upcoming Chinese new social media company called TikTok. When they launched in Korea, they hired me to run Korea sales and operations, and I joined Korea. It also had a good momentum and growth in Korea, and I was promoted to be head of Southeast Asia for TikTok sales and operations. And it was a very interesting journey for me because when I joined Southeast Asia, those markets were mobile first markets. So we were neck to neck with YouTube. It's very interesting feeling where it used to be your previous company, and then you had to compete with YouTube at a scale. So it has been a phenomenal journey. When I was with TikTok, a company called Toss reached out to me saying that if you want to join our company, so I joined the Toss Securities. It's been amazing 18 months, and we've grown so much. So it's been very personal and exciting at the time.
It's a little bit like ARK in that when we started, which was 10 years ago, we thought, why don't we disrupt the traditional asset management world a little bit by introducing some of the technologies that we had seen disrupt the world. And of course, social media was a big part of that. And giving research away was considered, well, no one understood what we were doing, actually. So you have, both of our firms have been sort of at the forefront of this fusion between media, which your background is so well suited for, and finance, asset management.
Yes.
Yeah. So talk about kind of the construction of both, but the success of Toss Securities. Why is it successful? Is it accurate to call it the Robinhood of Korea? Is that the way you think about it? And Or is there another way I should think about it?
So I think a lot of people ask me that question. I have a huge respect for Robinhood because I was following Robinhood when there was a meme stock, GameStop issue, and I think we think a little bit differently. Robinhood was founded in 2014. It's a 10-year-old company. I think we have been operating only 3 years, and we are operating in Korea. We're successful because of a couple of reasons. One, we are part of the super app called Toss. There's a banking, payment, shopping, etc. in one app. But secondly, interestingly, we have 60 million users that are trading, and we have a 1.5 million users on social function within the MTS, mobile trading app. So this is like a Reddit-like function. So we think that this social extension of our trading is helping us sort of communicate and share information, and they're also discussing a lot of things.
Have you been influenced by WhatsApp by any chance? And can you compare and contrast perhaps?
So it's more like instead of messaging WhatsApp, it's more like a Reddit function.
Oh, okay.
And there's, I don't know any other trading platform that has that social personality into the function. For example, let's say Kathy owns a lot of Tesla. I'm sure she does. But, when Kathy joins our network, we give her high Tesla value trader. And me, I don't own any Tesla, so I don't have that ticker. So they have a discussion based on their sort of ticker and designation. So it gives them more meaningful conversations.
Got it. So you're taking kind of the data on what the users actually own to then kind of like guide and inform basically the social media experience that's attached.
And we want to make sure that they share information, and that we have a news coming into that community one. They have a conversation. They also share trading. That guys, I sold my shares of Tesla. I'm so emotional. They also have fun. So that's where they discuss. And I think that coming from social media, I think that a lot of people in US, I think, copy trading, and that's a big thing now. But we believe that there's a gray area between trading, investing, and social media. There's an opportunity in between. We are not sure yet. I think it's going to differ market by market at a country level, but we want to figure that out. We sort of figured that out in Korea. Maybe we could figure out in other markets.
And when you say you figured it out in Korea, what have you figured out?
We figured out that when you're engaged in the social space, when you're posting, we have 30,000 posting per day. We have a trading competition. When we have that engagement, the GMV and also individual trading volume is increasing per user. That we figured out. And we are able to sort of focus that specific ticker like Tesla or NVIDIA. We're able to do promotions, and then it has that sort of elastic response. So that is what we figured out in Korea.
How do you think about the relationship between trading and investing? Like from a strategic point of view, you actually want investor money because it's very sticky, probably. And some people would say, oh, trading is actually bad, right? Because you're not just doing a good buy and hold conservative strategy. Like, how do you think about whether or not facilitating trading is good, and then how users go from being traders into investors and vice versa?
So I don't know if you know, as a security CEO, I'm not able to trade and hold any securities. By the way, I miss trading. but I think for me, I'm not the expert on trading or investing, but when you have very specific and immediate goals to achieve, I see that as a trading. When you believe in the vision of the company, and you have a longer time horizon with concurrent and sequential objectives, I think that's investing. But a lot of people start out as traders rather than investors. I think I just like how ARK is doing, we are very much focused on sort of education and making sure that we sort of focus on the basics, training them on the basics. That's what we're doing. So we want to convert a lot of traders without any information to investors with knowledge and right information.
So it's my perception, just from the way that investors in Korea interact with our strategies, that they might have core holdings, but they definitely understand volatility and they use it to their benefit. Our strategies are volatile strategies. So really an ideal investor for and trader, investor trading around the volatility is our perception. Is that correct?
Oh, I think that's correct. I'm sure you know, but there's a huge following for Kathy in Korea. I think that is one thing. Second, in terms of Tesla holdings, I think Korea retail investors are number 7 or number 8 of entire Tesla is sort of shareholders when they group them into one.
Oh.
So they understand volatility. I think they understand that how ARK has a very long horizon view into investing. So when they dip or when things are changing, I think they tend to sort of buy the dip kind of attitude showing. So that is something that I see, and I also heard from a lot of my friends that I'll tell you this. My aunt in Rose Seoul area, she called me one time, and then that's why you met Kathy Wood. I said, yeah, I met Kathy Wood, and my friend told me in their research, a robo taxi will be big. Should I buy Tesla? I was like, wow.
Oh wow, that is great.
And it was very amazing.
Yeah.
She's very popular in Korea.
Yeah. Yeah, Kathy, how do you think about kind of our client base and kind of the mix between traders and investors, given that, so, when we launched the actively managed ETFs, that wasn't really a category.
Right.
And it's kind of a funny concept that you have a fund that is a managed portfolio that also you can, trade at a spot price at any given time.
Yeah, when we first started ARK, and put an active strategy inside what had been a passive wrapper, the ETF, most people did not think we were going to succeed. They didn't even understand the concept. The market makers, some of the market makers were saying, the spreads are going to be 50 cents wide. Well, we have some of the narrowest spreads and some of the best liquidity in the market because we do have a lot of traders in our stocks. We actually have both retail and institutional. Sometimes we'll see our portfolios on their holdings lists, even though we haven't talked to them. These are state pension funds. Why? Because we actually fill a hole out there. We're a highly differentiated exposure to innovation. And most of the stocks in our portfolio, other growth portfolios, more traditional growth portfolios, do not have. And so these state pension funds and many investors are looking at our research and they say, wait a minute, I don't have any exposure to that. And our portfolios, and they say, well, their portfolios look so different. Maybe this is a good hedge against the value traps that are going to be caused by the disruptive innovation in these portfolios. So, it's been, we have a lot of different kinds of holders. So hedging like that, opportunistic, if their momentum, if they have a momentum style and our momentum is picking up, they'll be opportunistic. But we have a hardcore group of investors in our funds who maybe they've traded around the volatility, but they are very loyal because they know that we're doing something that no one else is.
Yeah. I mean, I think an interesting theory for kind of like trading versus investing is that, investing, as you're describing, it's also entertainment, right? And actually if you have $1 that you're leaving in cash, that you don't actually need to spend, that's actually a very bad use of $1.
Yes.
Right. And so if you can find an entertaining way to actually put that capital into businesses where it has, a probable chance of appreciating over time, then that's actually a great service to provide to people.
And I think what you're doing with the Reddit style of social media, that also satisfies intellectual curiosity, right? It makes it very engaging. So you've got, as you say, there's a little bit of a gamification. There's definitely a social aspect to it, but this, intellectual stimulation, I think, is also very exciting.
Yeah. Have you been surprised by kind of like the user behavior?
What I'm realizing is a lot of users are shy.
Ah.
And a lot of users are busy. They sometimes want to drop a couple of lines and then they argue, but they say they agree, they disagree, but it's actually helping the engagement.
Yeah.
So I didn't know that, dropping a couple of lines and here and there will make a lot of engagement. So that is something that I didn't expect in this platform.
Do you have to actively facilitate the social function in some way? You must have.
No, we don't do it, but we have a strict guideline working with the regulatory body to oversight within the framework. That's what we do, but we don't have trust and safety functions like other social media.
Just on that government point, how have regulators responded to what you're doing?
They are surprised because it's one of the biggest U.S. equity forum for in Korea. I think that is one. Two, they asked us to monitor if someone is enticing to invest this, stock, meme stock, or so on and so forth. We regulate, but I think it's a positive thing because as a collective sort of intelligence level, they really talk and think about the right things.
Mm-hmm.
So that is something that is happening over time.
I imagine that like you could use some of the new AI tools to kind of like enhance the usability of your platform or increase engagement. Or have you experimented with that at all? Are you thinking about that?
Yes, in a couple of years' time, I don't think we might not need a app or mobile phone to trade stocks. Maybe we could have a conversation on UX where move 10 shares of Tesla from the Charles Schwab, from E-Trade and Robinhood, and then just sell everything to USD and then buy Nvidia in Charles Schwab. I think we're going to get there. I don't know when. I'm not the futurist, but I think we're going to get there. But we're taking baby steps implementing AI because securities trading is a regulated business.
Mm-hmm.
We have to check in with the regulators. So what we are doing is something special because when you're in US, operating US, you don't need to think about translation. But when you are outside of US, translating using AI is a big thing.
Yes.
Because you want to have the right information, right sentiment delivered at ASAP with the AI. So we are using AI to monitor the content and then assessing sentiment and then doing the translation. So that's what we're doing, but it's a pretty big thing because it's not simple as it seems. It's not only the news, but there's a ticker, data, pricing data, and then people talk about a lot of things. So we're using AI into sort of translating data into information.
It seems like within the super app itself, the brokerage is a tab, I guess, right? Does the social stuff that's going on integrate into the rest of the super app, or is it isolated to the Toss?
It's isolated to Toss Securities because the Toss Securities is a regulated business. So we had to isolate, and then it's within the Toss Securities platform layer.
Yeah, one of the reasons I asked about WeChat before is there's a social element there, but they did almost educate us in early days about this concept of a digital wallet, mm-hmm. where not only is there social activity taking place, but there's commerce and there's investing. Would regulations prevent that in Korea?
I don't think regulation is preventing in Korea. I think it does. I think they're helping us in a lot of ways to build this. And Toss app itself is operating like that as a super app that is existing in maybe China, Japan, and Korea, CJK markets. But I think coming into US, I don't see any super app service in US because even if I don't call it a super app, there's no single function app where it has a banking license and broker-dealer license into one, maybe SoFi, maybe E-Trade, but it doesn't have the same experience. So I asked a lot of questions. I met a lot of finance people in US, past 2 to 3 months. They always tell me it will never happen in US because the people.
I think Elon Musk might.
He said it.
Say about
and
that.
I told him Elon said it, and then I think it's coming to US, I believe.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think.
I don't know what you think.
States. Yes, how many states is X now? They definitely are working with the state regulators because we have to go through 50 states, and I think he said that they would be through all 50 in terms of regulatory approval for banking by the end of this year or into next year sometime.
Well, my understanding is it's like the money transmitter license that they're securing right now. I mean, I think they would have to, cross a separate threshold if they're going to do brokerage.
Well,
but
just,
you have ambitions to expand internationally, as I understand it. Like, can you talk about?
Yeah, so we are expanding into US. We started looking for office now. We are looking to have a BD license, broker dealer license, US, and it's a very obvious move for us. We want to go into the B2B space, and making sure that we are operational at the same time, and using that as a common denominator function for our business. Maybe we could expand it to other markets like Southeast Asia. But we don't have any plans yet to go into B2C side yet in US.
Right. So you wouldn't have like a consumer-facing app in the US. It's just to facilitate your Korean operations. Can you talk about that? The kind of Korean buyers buying US stocks, and did that surprise you in terms of the growth of the business?
Yes, and I think a couple of things are happening. From my lens, Korean market itself is very US friendly. US allies, so they use YouTube, they buy Tesla, they're easily associating their buying behavior with buying stocks, and there's a huge following Kathy, so they are very conscious about US equity investing.
That's so interesting. So if they love Kathy, they really love our analysts and Brett, our chief futurist, and, because there is so much work that goes into. I mean, it's original research, and I'm just thrilled that Korea has taken to it the way that it has. It's really, really gratifying.
Yes.
And if you have any ideas for us, we're always open to them in terms of.
Kathy, we are localizing your content in our community, I told you, and there's a huge following there too.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah. That's fantastic.
Yeah, and it cuts against home country bias, which is true in every country of kind of like, we invest in the thing that's close to home.
Yes.
I mean, Kathy, maybe you could talk about within our strategy how, we have a very strong, like it's a global strategy, but we're heavily invested in US equities. Right. Like, why don't we have more kind of Europe exposure, that kind of thing?
Yeah, well, first of all, Silicon Valley, is part of, our root system in this country. And what's happening in the U.S. is there are centers of innovation cropping up all over the place. One of the reasons we moved here to St. Petersburg in Florida, the Tampa Bay region, is we'd like to be part of making this one of the new Bay areas. Again, the DNA here is very strong. I think regulations historically, when you ask about Europe and we think about AI, a lot of companies in the U.S. are starting to pull back from Europe because of the very heavy fines if they inadvertently trip over some privacy regulations, which are very strict over there. But I do think, and this is part of our vision, I think that the cost or the barriers to innovation are starting to fall dramatically. I mean, when we think about AI training costs, our research suggests that AI training costs are dropping 75% per year. AI inference costs are dropping 85% plus per year. And so that we think is going to enable a lot more innovation around the world. And I think what we would like to do, and certainly with our venture effort, we're starting to do this, is create a heat map around the world and see where keywords are popping up in documents perhaps filed with regulators or perhaps even in the media. So we understand where innovation is evolving. I think there has been, in these last few years, a flight to safety. The U.S. is considered perhaps a little safer. Now, I think that interest rates are coming down, and we do think they're going to come down. I think that's going to change as well.
Sure. And the way I think, at a very high level, I think that innovation investing is really important for long-term wealth building.
Absolutely.
And kind of like, if you look at the way we underwrite the technologies, we think that there's a a rough 10x return at the technological level over the course of this decade. And so you have to have good disruptive innovation exposure in a portfolio, which is why we do what we do.
Yeah.
And it's like those disruptive companies are right now largely domiciled in the US.
Yeah, well, and what's been very interesting about this cycle, astonishing actually, is that the fear in at least the U.S. market, I don't know if you see it this way in Korea as well, has pushed people into mega cap stocks. You know, the Mag 6, they kicked out Tesla. It used to be the Mag 7. But the Mag 6, you know, the average active large cap growth manager, according to Morningstar, had 48% of his or her portfolio in the Mag 6. And of course, we've diversified against that kind of strategy. We're highly diversified compared to that strategy. But that strategy was a function of high yields on cash. So cash is competition. They have a lot of cash. And oh, by the way, they might benefit from AI. We have great debates here at ARC all the time about, wait a minute, Mag 6, are they really going to benefit the way people think they're going to benefit from AI? Or could they be disrupted ultimately? So it's a great source of debate. And again, another reason that, you know, our strategies appeal to people. We don't follow the crowd into, you know, the most popular trade of the day.
In terms of kind of both your client base and your vision for the business, where do you think that you're going? Is it just expanding in Korea and facilitating kind of traders becoming investors and building up kind of call it like a stickier asset pool over time? Is it like, you know, riding the wealth appreciation that happens on your platform? Is it international expansion?
So when I came into finance landscape, when you see overall landscape, brokerage is a very small part of the big business. And I think a reason why we're super focused on brokerage and social media function is in order to disrupt finance, you need capital, a lot of capital. Mm-hmm. But I think having the right technology could sidestep and buy you time before you need the capital to disrupt the market. For example, I think what is very interesting about brokerage is, let's say, we talked about Tesla. Let's say Tesla is, I don't know how much it is, $123 today, let's say, like now. There's no other commodity or product that is the same price at this point in time globally. And I think we have a miles to go since we could operate in a way that we could service that in a very easy way to everyone. I think that there's a value there that we could go into, you know, equity options and whatnot. But starting with the brokerage, we want to get to like AI level that I talked about. Mm-hmm. But I think we have a huge opportunity here because 10 years ago when Robinhood started, they implemented the UX strategy and the ease of trading, you know, giving part to the retail people. I think that was a P0. I think we're at a P1 stage where we are focusing on the technology and also expanding our US equity focused business from outside of US and going into US and also making sure that even outside of US, we are able to service clients or users at that manner. And I don't think any other US company is doing that with the US equity.
Is your Reddit style one of the reasons you think you can break through the competition here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very interesting.
And do you think that like crypto assets and cryptocurrency are going to play a meaningful part in your strategy going forward? I know there are probably regulatory issues. I mean, in every geography in the world, there are some sort of regulatory issues, but you know, conceptually, it seems like that truly is a single asset that can have a single price worldwide. Like, is that?
Yes. And we are excited and we think that there's a huge potential. I think we are really benefiting from, you know, crypto being a huge market in Korea because they are flocking to US equity, they're flocking to fixed income and options. So we are really, you know, keeping a close eye on crypto.
Well, really appreciate you coming on the show, SY. It's been great discussing with you and I look forward to, you know, working with you in the future.
Thank you. This is my first podcast. It was really fun.
Oh, and you did so well. Thank you very much. We're honored that this is your first podcast. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks. Thank you for joining FYI, the For Your Innovation podcast. Please like and subscribe to us on the podcasting platform of your choice. We'll see you next week.
ARK believes that the information presented is accurate and was obtained from sources that ARK believes to be reliable. However, ARK does not guarantee the accuracy or completeness of any information, and such information may be subject to change without notice from ARK. Historical results are not indications of future results. Certain of the statements contained in this podcast may be statements of future expectations and other forward-looking statements that are based on ARK's current views and assumptions and involve known and unknown risks and uncertainties that could cause actual results, performance, or events to differ materially from those expressed or implied in such statements.